Good afternoon, everyone. This is Charlie Pankey, Sierra Now podcast. Thanks for joining us again this weekend. We hope wherever you're at, the Sierra is in your future or within your sights. Beautiful spring day up here in the Lake Tahoe region, and we are getting excited for summer on the water and in the mountains and all the adventures we do around the Lake Tahoe area. If you're into fishing or you're thought about getting on Lake Tahoe and throwing a pole in the water and pulling in a record Mackinaw or a huge trout or a salmon, today is for you. I have the guests today are from Lake Tahoe Sportfishing. I've got Zach Gordon and Zach Shear with me. They are part of the crew that runs the Operation Lake Tahoe. We're going to be talking about fishing and getting on the water this summer. Zach, how you guys doing today?
Good.
That's the first time I've had to go Zach for an intro. That's pretty.
Makes it
easy. So you guys are a year-round fishing operation on Lake Tahoe, correct?
Yeah. Yep. We go out every single day, year round.
So I've been lucky enough to fish one time on Lake Tahoe. It was the middle of winter. Went Mackinaw fishing, got a big old Mackinaw. It was beautiful, but I couldn't believe people were out there fishing in the snow because I'm not a normal fisherman. So I'm your guest fisherman, like you guys probably cater to a little bit. But I would imagine like there's seasons of fishing on the lake that are more special than other times. Am I wrong on that, or is there like a certain time it's like, man, fishing's always good? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's pretty hard to have a bad time on Tahoe. You know, every season has its ups and downs on the catching.
Okay.
So then that can change by the minute sometimes. But we're almost always successful at bringing something back with us. Some of the nicest days of the entire year are in the winter.
Are they?
You get out there, it's the time I call it the complete glass. So, when you get out there and there's not a single other boat wake or anything like that on the lake, it absolutely is a mirror. And it's one of my favorite times to be out there. The
Fantastic.
Summer's great, obviously, it's nice and warm, but you don't in the wintertime, you get that perfectly flat day.
Very cool. I know we're coming up on Fishmas here on the Eastern Sierra. That's it. They phrase on Eastern Sierra. They get started up and rock and rolling. But since you guys are year round, do you cater to guest fishermen? Like, are these first time fishermen or like the winter guys or the hardcore guys that are out here every year chasing a certain type of fish? Or
it really ranges. We take out a lot of people that have never fished before just because it's such a good way to get on the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And the fishing is pretty unique. It's, you don't see it everywhere. A lot of the people that are, very avid fishermen, they might be thrown off trying to set the hook or whatever it may be. And it's just different on Tahoe. So we take out a lot of beginner fishermen even during the winter.
Right.
I think a lot of the times too in the winter you get families that might come up for a week or 2 weeks at a time and to ski or whatever, and there might not be the greatest snow that week and they get a little burnt out on the skiing, so it's a great thing to go spend a day doing.
Gotcha.
Completely different than going up on the mountain, or you go out skiing in the morning or fishing in the morning, and skiing in the afternoon. It's just the best.
That gave us a whole nother perspective of what do we call the Tahoe triple, where you guys can do 3 sports in one day. Exactly. So, well, I kind of jumped right into it. I want to back up here for a moment. I apologize. I got kind of excited there. Tell us about your story. How long you guys have been in business on the lake? Where did the idea of sport fishing, especially the size of boats you guys are taking out, originate on Lake Tahoe? Where did your guys' outfit start at?
Yeah, so it started 1953 by the original owner, who then owned it all the way up until 1995. So he had a long run at it, and it eventually moved down to Ski Run Marina.
Okay.
In the early 90s, late 80s, but originally it started up on the East Shore, actually at Logan Shoals, which is where they ran out of for years, and it's been a ski run since, and it's been the main hub for us, which has been a great spot.
That's great. Logan Shoals area is beautiful, by the way. So I assume you guys still fish that region. In fact, yeah. Do you have? I mean, I assume from a license standpoint, you guys fish the entire lake, right? Wherever the fish are at, you guys are taking people wherever you're at. The activities at for the season, right?
That is correct. And as a guide, you have to either have one or other. There's different regulations on what side of the lake you can fish.
Right.
But for the customer, that one fishing license in California or Nevada will work anywhere on the lake. So,
Yeah, I learned that for my trip out that was one of my first questions I had to answer. Is like, well, I'm over here on the Nevada side. Do I have to buy a California state license or not? So a lot of people don't know that about Lake Tahoe, that you could have that one state and fish the whole thing. So
in a lot of areas, they require different stamps and stuff like that. But here it's just the annual or a one-day fishing license will do the trick. So
very good. Well, Lake Tahoe is so unique because of the water clarity, obviously, at the high alpine altitude. What is what's the fish species that most people are chasing when they come to Lake Tahoe? Like I said, I know it from the Mackinaw because it's my only experience, but I know there's salmon and all kinds of other, species in there. So,
so the lake trout, which a lot of people call Mackinaw.
Okay.
Little fact with those, they were brought here from Mackinaw Island.
So I didn't know that.
They're actually a lake trout.
Okay.
The Mackinaw is more of a nickname than anything. So
got it. See,
brought them out here back in the 1800s in flooded railroad cars.
Really?
Which is pretty crazy feat if you think about it. Coming all the way out from the Great Lakes and then bringing them here. So you got those. That's kind of your year-round fish that you can target.
Okay.
And then during the summer months, we have the Kokanee salmon, which is a landlocked sockeye that are real tasty. A little bit of a smaller fish. But back in 2013, we actually got the state record, California and Nevada state record with one of our boats.
Really? Oh, here in Lake Tahoe?
Yeah. So normally those fish are ranging anywhere from 8 to 14 inches.
Yeah.
And then this one was just over, what was it, 5.5 pounds?
Yeah, 5.2.
5.2.
Wow.
Pounds. So it was kind of a freak. But then you also have your rainbows and your brown trout.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your four main species. Now they're also starting a big program. Well, they have been doing it for years now with the Lahontan Cutthroat and trying to reintroduce those because that was the native species.
Yeah. How's that going, by the way? I got to go to the first reinduction, release of the fish as and stand in the water and let the fish run and hit my feet and stuff. It was pretty awesome. But I haven't followed up on that to see how that growth is going from a sports fisherman standpoint. How do you guys feel that's going along?
From a sports fisherman, like from us being out there every day, really watching it, I think it's going to be a real uphill battle.
Is it?
We actually just had the chance to sit with a few other guides in front of a big panel at the Forest Service and hear what they were talking about, what their goals are for the next 5 to 10 years with the Cutthroat and all that kind of stuff. It was really interesting. But what we've noticed is they're planting them in 2 different areas on the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly down here in the El Dorado Beach area and then up in the Tahoe Forest,
Lake Forest
area up on the North Shore by Dollar Point. And they put trackers in these fish too. A handful of them to really see what they're doing. Now, for us, when we're fishing them, we notice we're catching them real quickly right when they stock them.
Okay, got you.
And I would say 50% of the ones that we're catching are inside of other trout's bellies.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're definitely up against the odds.
Yeah.
They tried doing this in fallen leaf.
Yep.
It hasn't really worked. And they took it to a whole nother level over there where they actually, did massive gill netting and that kind of stuff to get all the lake trout out of there. So it'll be interesting. As a fisherman, I would love nothing more to see a thriving cutthroat fishery.
Right. Yeah.
The big thing we don't want to see is at the expense of everything else.
I get that. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
So they're working on it. They're figuring it all out. And hopefully someday,
it would be cool to get a pocket, right, where they survived and had a big population. You take over one little beach if nothing else.
Trust me, as a fisherman, the more in there, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's days where it's not the easiest fishing out there. We have to really work for them. But so it'd be great to have another option.
Yeah, people have been fishing Lake Tahoe for hundreds of years. Obviously, the Washoe tribes and the different tribes from the area use Lake Tahoe as a summer fishery themselves. What makes, in your guys, in your own words, like what makes Lake Tahoe so unique and rewarding as a fishery? Of all the lakes in California.
I think the biggest thing is just the scenery and the whole experience.
Yeah.
being on the lake, having the option to go to Emerald Bay, having the option to eat, their freshly caught fish, which it's not commercially fished. So these
Yeah.
fish you pull out of here, you can't get them anywhere else.
Right.
It's not like you can just go to the store and buy them. So, I think that's one of the most rewarding things that a lot of people enjoy about it, is that they truly are, catching the fish and taking it straight to the plate, where that's the only way to do it.
One
Right.
thing to piggyback on that just a little bit is like, so in the Great Lakes, they don't really think of lake trout as like one of the best eating fish.
Mm-hmm.
But out of so to answer your question, like, I feel like everything that comes out of Lake Tahoe is phenomenal eating.
Oh yeah.
And that's really cold water. That's the diet of what they're eating down there. So that makes it super unique, where you catch these fish. And like, I have people all the time that let's say they Kokanee salmon fish in other areas, because they're all over the West Coast.
Yep.
They go, but there's nothing that tastes like a Lake Tahoe Kokanee.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people don't realize that the crawdads and the shrimp that are in the lake, I mean, kind of an abundance of them actually. So they have a really good diet. I remember the trout I caught had a full crawdad in its belly. I mean, it was like it just eaten over that night, right? So they must have a really good diet.
Example. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people from the South that go, "Oh no, I didn't like the crawdads here. They're too clean."
Oh, they're too clean.
Yeah, mud bugs that everybody's expecting down there in the South. Like the ones out of here, you don't have to purge them. You literally eat them like lobster.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's more work though.
A little more work. A little more work. Yeah, exactly. How long have you two been fishing the lake yourself?
I was born and raised in Tahoe. I
Okay.
grew up on the boats. Specifically, my dad was a captain forever, so I grew up around them. And I started captaining after I got out of school in 2020. So I've been fishing and doing other charter boats up in Tahoe, but for most of my life.
You're a lifer. Okay, got it. Good.
Yeah, I've been here since this will be 20 years this year. So
20 years on Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
That's
I had
great.
a little hiatus where I went and worked on the islands in the Bahamas, but came back after a couple.
There's worse places to take a hiatus to.
Yeah. We call them Tahoe appreciation trips.
Yeah, I like that. I like that very much. Is there a favorite section of the lake that you guys personally like to fish? I mean, is there an area because of scenery or because there's a certain way of fishing in that section that you like it deeper or shallow, or you know what I mean there?
Yeah, I'd say for me probably the West Shore, Rubicon, that area.
That's so beautiful over there. That water's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think changing up areas on the lake is more for myself than the customer. When they come out, it doesn't matter where you go.
As long as there's fish.
Their jaws are open, right? They're just like, wow, look at this place we're at. So by the seasons, I'll move around and follow the fish. I mean, it might be on the south end one day and then have to go up to the North Shore the next day. And that's one of the great things about Tahoe Sportfishing. We don't have small boats. Mm-hmm. So, even if it's windy, we might be able to go over onto the West Shore, hide from the wind, and have a comfortable ride getting there and back.
Yeah, let's talk about the boats there, because you guys are Coast Guard certified. I saw on your website. I mean, how big are these boats? I mean, what's the kind of size of party that people can, book with you guys?
Yeah, so our smallest boat, it ranges from 30 feet all the way up to 45 feet.
Okay.
Like you said, they're all Coast Guard certified. So the small boats, we don't like to stack them up. We don't put a ton of people on the boats on the public charters. But going up in size to the bigger boats, we take private charters of up to 20, 25 people.
Okay.
But, all the boats you can fish, up to 10, 11 lines at most, depending on what type of fishing you're doing.
Very good. Is summer particularly maybe a little more difficult because of all the water traffic with the surfers and the skiers and everything else out there too? I mean, or do you guys, the lake is pretty big. I mean, is it pretty easy to find space and, be by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain times with the salmon when they're real schooled up, you might see quite a few fishing boats around each other, especially in the mornings. But for the most part, this isn't like some of the other lakes people are used to. It doesn't get that busy.
Right.
4th of July, celebrity golf. Yeah, there's definitely a little more going on out there, but it's a short period. We're out there so early,
Yeah.
Sometimes we're out of there before all the, everybody else wants to get on the lake. So
That was the one thing I remember. The gentleman who took me out, he's local here in the Carson Valley, and he fishes the lake pretty much daily up there. And we were on that. We were the first ones on the dock coming off Cave Rock. There was snow on the ground, so he's at the tire marker. It's going, is it still dark? Are we allowed to be on this water? I'm going. He was, as soon as the sky turned gray and all. We were out there. It's like crazy, man.
yeah.
But I'm not a fisherman, so that's what's unique for me. I'm going out this weekend with some guys from LA who've invited me out fishing. I'm just like, all right, you guys are going to have to teach me what I'm doing. So I would be looking for guys like you going, hey, I don't want to just go out here on the shore and not even know how to tie my line and throw a line. I need some help, right? So
yeah, and basically, you can take it. That's another thing that we kind of push on our boats is putting it in the customer's hands as much as they want to. So they could come on the boat, not touch a thing all day if they want.
Yeah, put it in a rig.
Rarely happens, but sometimes, people want that. Or you can have it on, like just the other day, I had the guy learning how to put the bait on, how to tie the line, how to clean the fish afterwards, or work our downriggers, where a lot of places, we'll sit there and work with you on it. So customer service is definitely one of the, we like to think we're taking family out all the time.
That's cool. Let's go there. I mean, what you've got to have some stories, fishing stories, but I'd really be interested, maybe from the listener's perspective, like what are some of your favorite things to do as a captain with your clients? I mean, what gives you the biggest reward in taking people out to learn how to fish or, experience Lake Tahoe at its best?
Yeah. I think for me, it's just seeing people do something they're not comfortable with and, learning from it. And, so that can be different at all times. I really like taking the little families out,
Okay.
and experiencing that with them. And then the change of the people is also the exciting part too. So it might be a little family at one point and then a bachelor party in the afternoon.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. A little different experience, right?
Yeah, quickly.
I think, that is definitely the most rewarding part. It's just all the new faces, the new people you get to meet, the good conversation, people getting into the fishing aspect of it.
Sure.
And the challenge behind it all, catching fish, producing for customers. And it's very rewarding.
And so let's do the biggest fish has got away, or biggest fish let's just not do got away. What's the biggest fish we've reeled in, either individually or you've seen somebody on your boat bring in on Tahoe?
Lake here, my biggest is 25 pounds.
25 pounds?
That happened the year after I got my captain's license. So I don't know, man. I've been chasing a bigger one since.
Ever since, huh?
I've actually never lost a small one.
Never?
So, I've never lost a small one. So it's almost daily, you lose a 30, 40 pounder.
At least a 30 pounder, yes.
Well, like I had this lady a few months ago that it was a family actually, and the 16-year-old daughter came out and she caught a 20 pounder, and It was just like mind blowing for them, and we ended up taking a bunch of pictures of it, and they got it mounted and all that kind of stuff, and then try to get them back when they're that big.
Honestly, I'm having a hard time envisioning a 20-pound fish. I mean, that's a massive animal to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that is. I mean, it's got to be a big old.
Fish they've been said they can live for up to 100 years. So
wow, that's cool.
They grow a little bit slower in Lake Tahoe. So,
okay. Why is that? Because it's cold. It's so cold.
That's part of it. The other part's their forage. I mean, for the most part, they're sitting there on the shrimp, and they'll chase bait fish and crawdads around as well. But in other lakes, they're out there eating like big chubs and like all the time, so that's one thing for sure that keeps them a little slower growing.
Okay. Zach, you got
big fish?
Yeah, you got a big fish story?
No, but a big rainbow I lost. I swear. Yeah. It was big.
It was big. How many captains do you guys have in the operation?
It ranges between time. At one point we had 8 charter boats.
Okay.
Right now we're at 6 charter boats.
Okay.
But we still have 8 active captains that are, we'll rotate, relief captains, whatever it may be. But yeah, generally we like to have a couple extras.
Just on hand. That's cool.
Yeah, but that's something to point out too. Is like a lot of our cabins have been around for at least 10 years. It's not the easiest position to fill.
Yeah, exactly. Local knowledge, right?
Local, yeah, and just being out there and learning from your mistakes. So a lot. What Bobby's been around for
27 years.
27 years. So
okay,
same company.
Yep. So
that's pretty awesome. Just stick around. I mean, it's obviously we live and work and play in a very beautiful area, right? It's really hard to leave the Sierra. You've got mountain peaks with snow on them right now, and the water, it's crystal clear. Like I said, it's not churned up at all from the summertime or boaters out there. I mean, I can't even try to imagine, a first timer who's coming up here from the Bay Area or Los Angeles, and you can literally see 70 feet down. You watch your lure go, descend into the water. How deep of water do you fish on like a typical basis? I would kind of assume 20 to 30 feet. I don't know if you go a whole lot deeper. I mean,
no, it's quite, generally for the lake trout, we're fishing anywhere from 150 to 250, 300 feet.
Really? Wow.
All the way down at, 500, 600 feet, you can catch them.
Wow. I didn't know that. So I know the lake's deep. Remember when I read the Tahoe facts, right? If we tipped up Lake Tahoe upside down, it filled California with 4 inches of water across the state or something like that?
I think it's 14.
14 inches, okay.
Yeah.
Crazy
that's
metal.
what I say to everyone. I don't know if it's true.
I don't either know. Yeah, those stories you get to hear and stuff. Is there a favorite fish that you guys like to catch? I mean, do you guys like to I call it Mackinaw lake trout, or do you like the browns, or what's your favorite fish to catch it? When you as a personal fisherman, like when you're throwing your rod in.
I would say that the unicorn of the lake is the brown.
The brown.
They fight real hard, and we don't eat too many of those just because there's not very many. But,
okay.
So we try to put them back. But personally, I really like catching the Kokanee.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so tasty. We can eat them raw right on the boat.
A little sushi, huh?
Yeah. Haven't died yet.
That sounds good.
There's so many ways you can cook those. So you can't really go wrong with any of them. You really can't. It depends. Like for the sport of catching them, it just kind of depends too. Like if you're fishing a little shallower, a lot of times those fish they'll fight a lot harder.
Got you.
You can imagine if you're getting something down 300-400 feet down, changes alone will affect that. So.
Well, yeah, I started to think about it. You some of the these lakes that we go fishing in the Sierra, you're shoreline fishing, or maybe you're trolling so you're using a certain lure that could that spins or something like that 10 feet. You guys got to be using different type of equipment to go down that deep as far as setup and what that looks like. I mean, an average fisherman, would they even kind of understand the setup for fishing in that type of depth of water? I mean, I'm a kind of a dummy here, so I don't know what I'm asking here, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it kind of goes with the rule. Like, I mean, even if we're traveling somewhere new, we don't go out fishing on our own. We go and get a captain or a crew, or try and get some local knowledge. But yeah, if you were just to go and splash your boat in, not have any idea where to go or what to use, it would be pretty hard to catch anything out there. That's
long day on the water.
I've actually a quick funny story. I took this guy out for years. He came out every year, multiple times a year. And he's like, all right, Zach, you know what? I think you've taught me enough. I'm bringing my own boat next year, and I'm going to try it on my own. This is after like 10 years of him coming out. So he comes out that next year, and I see him. He comes over, he's following me and everything else, calling. What are you doing? And then he comes up afterward. He goes, I'll never do that again. I guess, one, it's way cheaper to get you. And two, we actually caught something with you.
You actually get to bring fish home, which is
He had a hard time. So if you're not out there every day, good luck.
I'm going to bring up another part of that too, that people need to be kind of aware in Tahoe. Obviously the mussel growth and problem across the state of California is becoming bigger and bigger in the whole Sierra. Tahoe's boat restrictions have ramped up this year, and they're going to be inspecting boats for, I'm not even trying to use the technical terms, but making sure they're dry and clean to get in Lake Tahoe. You guys provide a service that is excellent for people who are traveling to Lake Tahoe. They don't have to bring their boats up and worry about a boat failing inspection or they've been in the bay and it's just null and void, whatever it is. They can just come and use your boats. They are Lake Tahoe approved. They're always in Lake Tahoe, and we don't have to worry about spreading that muscle around by any means.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a huge challenge to bring a boat up to Tahoe, with all the inspections and the fees, and mooring it or pulling it out, just like anything.
Yeah.
It can be a real nightmare, especially when it comes to Tahoe.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we believe it or not, we're at 25 minutes already. We've only got a couple minutes left on our show already. I want to give you guys a chance to kind of give your little 2-minute commercial for fishing this summer with you guys and Lake Tahoe. What do the guests need to know about, how do they find out how to, get a guided trip, anything specific they need to know about before they come? I'll give you guys a chance to talk about that before we run a promotion for our sponsors here today.
One thing real quick is follow us on social media. It's all Tahoe Sportfishing. Our social media girl is on it.
That's how I found them.
She does a great job.
Yeah, and just calling us, we take public trips, private trips. We try to cater to any needs that the customer may have, whether it's going out of a different, area, North Shore, if they have a house, whatever it is.
And with 6 boats, you guys book up solid during certain seasons? Like if you want to go out and 4th of July weekend right now, forget it, it's already booked type thing, or people get pretty good about finding schedules out for everybody?
Yeah, we sort out the schedules definitely. The busy July, August is definitely the busiest time. So it is good to book it, in advance. But we have openings typically a week prior.
Fantastic. Okay, that's good to know. So if you're traveling to the area, you're looking to go fishing for Lake Tahoe, call these guys up. I've watched their social media pages for a year. Just finally got the guts to call them out and ask them to be on the show. So thanks for joining us today, guys. Don't take off for a minute. I want to run a quick sponsor promotion, and then I have 3 really important questions to ask you about your own personal outdoor adventure life, okay? It's going to include favorite spots, your favorite food to eat, and what the go-to piece of gear is. You're going to give away your gear secret here in just a minute, okay? Give me just a second. As all, guys, we can't do anything without our sponsors. Visit Carson Valley down here. We're in home base. Wide open spaces is a great place to base camp and then go fishing in the afternoon at Lake Tahoe. We're only about 20 minutes away from the shore, so it's a great place to do it. Let's watch this video. Carson Valley is obviously on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe. A lot of people don't know our county actually, but it shares the Nevada Lake Shore. So Nevada Beach is in the same county as Carson Valley. Casino District's in our district. So we kind of share the southern corner of the lake, if you will, with everybody. So we do appreciate Visit Carson Valley for all they do for us. So, all right, guys, I have 3 questions I ask all my guests. You have 2 of you, so you guys going to answer this twice, okay? Really simple questions to get to know you a little bit as outdoor adventure people, right? So let's assume your bags are packed and you can't go fishing on Lake Tahoe this weekend for whatever reason, okay? But you got to go anywhere else in this area you want to go. Don't have to go fishing, but you just got to go play, do your outdoor play thing. Where are you going and why?
I'd have to say I'd go down to the Mammoth Lakes area on the opener, and there's nothing like that.
Oh, for Fishmas, right? Okay.
It's coming up.
It's coming.
Yeah. I'd say for me, if it's still in the Sierras, I'd say snowmobiling during the winter or just going on the lake, not fishing, but just enjoying the lake.
Just enjoying the lake. I got it. Yeah.
Whatever it is. I
did some snowmobiling this winter in the Sierra. That's pretty phenomenal. You got in the wilderness. Snowmobile, pretty neat thing to do. So, all right. After a long day of fishing, you've been on the boat, catering to guests and stuff. What's the go-to food? What do you need to eat, or is it just fresh fish on the boat? That was a pretty good one.
I'd say for me, it's probably pizza. Pizza's the go-to for me. Actually, I don't really like cooked fish or anything. It's strange. I like sushi, but I don't like eating the cooked fish. So.
I know so many fishermen that way. There's this fish.
Yeah, I'd have to say a big steak is right up my alley. But
very good. Well, give a shout out to your favorite place. Where's your favorite pizza place? Where's your favorite steak place?
I'd say McDuff's Pub is definitely my favorite pizza.
McDuff's is pretty good.
Yeah, hands down. I think they do, a phenomenal job.
Very good. Get some love McDuff's. You're the first people to mention them on the channel, which is always surprising to me. So, and then finally, guys, we're all gearheads in some sort. I expect you to give away your favorite fishing gear right here, but you can be any gear. What is your go-to piece of gear you never leave home without?
Mine would have to be the Tahoe Trolling Company flasher setup.
Okay.
I've trolled those things for obviously the salmon and all the trout here, but also caught halibut and a lot of other fish on the ocean as well with the Tahoe Trolling Company setup for sure.
Very cool. I haven't heard that, so that's neat.
I would have to say the same from me.
Okay.
Company, they got the flashers. They're great.
Yep.
Not sponsored here at all. These guys are just answering the questions, guys. So you just got the insider tip right there.
Oh yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for spending 30 minutes with us today and telling your part of the Sierra story. I hope you guys have a great summer. If you're coming to Tahoe, listeners, you're in Los Angeles, San Francisco, wherever you're listening today, coming to Tahoe, look these guys up. They have a great social media page. They're right. They're catching exciting stuff out of the lake. Sounds like a great time for a group party, family outing, whatever you want to do. But Lake Tahoe has so many things to do. Fish in the morning, go hike in the afternoon, go golf in the evening hours, whatever you want to do there. So wherever you're at, we hope the Sierra's in your future. Summertime is on this way, so we hope to see you up here in the Sierra. And your next adventure is your best. Have a great day, and hope you'll join us next week.